Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's count 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13.
Dr. Yaldo presents Say It My Way, an Eli Zaret production.
What is this song? Oh my God.
For Pete Davidson, I think.
Yeah, that's the Cheryls.
What, Drew's off, so all hell's gonna break loose,
Kick
right?
it off, Eli.
How are you, Eli?
I'm good. We all sat here and watched the end of another, I wouldn't say thrilling Lions victory, but it was an unusual one, 52-14 over, who'd they beat today? The Tennessee Titans.
I would call it thrilling. I mean, the way the offense is just destroying other teams, I would say it's a thrilling victory.
It wasn't even the offense today. It was special
everything.
teams.
Well,
it was the defense.
when the
It was
offense had the
everything.
opportunity, they went through.
It was Tennessee. Well, first of all, they gave the Lions 2 touchdowns in the first half. 2 interceptions by Mason Rudolph that led directly to scores. It was a 14-14 game. Could have been anybody's game at that time near the end of the first period, and then the Lions just blew it out after that. Khalil Dorsey, 70-yard kickoff, 75-yard kickoff return.
Yeah.
That leads to a right touchdown pass. What's his first name? Right?
Rock Wright.
Brad Wright. Then 28-14 because Kirby Joseph with a really very nice interception, cutting in front of the receiver. And then they thought it was a touchdown pass to Laporte. I know you guys were just all excited because he's on your Brandon. And by the way, Brandon, you do have the line of the year when I was talking about how geeky I thought fantasy football was. You guys pretend to be general managers, and Brandon says, I am a general manager.
Yeah.
I do have to, I have to coach the team. I have to decide who's starting, who's sitting. You got to make sure the guys have good morale in the locker room.
Got a gel.
How dare you knock fantasy football? You
Well,
don't even have you ever done it?
Listen, I'm saying I have empathy for you because Laporta was down on the half-yard line. They called it a touchdown, brought it back, and then St. Brown caught a half-yard touchdown pass with nobody near him. Anyway, that made it 28-14. 14 points on Rudolph interceptions, including one on their very first series. He threw it on his first play, I think. Not the first play, but the second or third play. Nowoski intercepted it, and Montgomery takes it in.
Polish assassin.
The Polish assassin, is that really a...
Yes, correct.
You made that nickname up?
No, I didn't make that nickname
Somebody
up.
else made that
Do
nickname
your
up?
research.
When you Google it, it seems there's a female MMA fighter with that moniker, and not
It's
somebody
Trevor
from the Lions.
Nowoski. It's Trevor Nowoski.
And then at the
He also got burned on Mason Rudolph's touchdown run, but who cares?
Yeah, he did.
They just kept on turning the ball over. But great touchdown when Montgomery throws a touchdown pass to Laporta following a 64-yard punt return. By the way, Khalif Raymond, what we had 190 yards in returns. The all-time NFL record is 207. The Lions record was 199 by Eddie Drummond about 25 years ago. And Khalif had another shot at it, but only got 2 yards. He won with 190 yards in punt returns. He had the 75 Khalil Dorsey. Big day for Khalil Dorsey with the 75-yard one. So Jared Goff, 12 for 15 today. So kind of only 129.9 passing rating. He had set all these records for.
Were you surprised they left Goff in as long as they did?
Yeah, when he was playing in the third quarter, you guys seemed awfully worried about him, especially because he had that ankle. It seemed like he was limping and everything like that.
Yeah,
I don't know why they kept him. It was 49. Was it 42-14? And he was still, or 49-14?
So, yeah.
Still in.
And he took some big sacks too. I mean, 4 sacks. He went down hard.
Yeah. Anyway, just 85 yards, 12 of 15 after being, and it was 4 weeks in a row, 18 of 23, 18 of 18, 18 of 25, 22 of 25. So there is legitimate talk about him being an MVP candidate, which he should be.
And once again, I think we had the stat last week how they had more touchdowns than interceptions. What, in the last 4 games, Jim? Is that what?
Incompletions.
Or incompletions, I'm sorry. Incompletions. Yeah, which is even more insane. And that's what Goff did today. He had 3 incompletions, 3 touchdowns. And Montgomery had a touchdown, and Hooker had 1 incompletion. So they had a total of 4 and 4.
And it was fitting.
That's unheard of.
It was fitting that Laporta got a touchdown on what day?
Oh,
What day was it?
that's right. It's
Funny you should ask.
National Tight
They
End
say
Day.
national tight. I go, what do you mean a national tight end game? Of course, the NFL created it. I'll tell you when after we hear how they, time after time, had no problem enjoying and celebrating.
Off the play fake. Open. Touchdown. Brock Wright for the tight end on National Tight End Day. Goff to the end zone. It is caught leaning across the goal line. Laporta with a touchdown. On National Tight End Day, everybody gets a touchdown. National Tight Ends Day.
And on National Tight Ends Day, Kirk Cousins finds Kyle Pitts behind the defense.
Yeah, well, when your head coach is a former tight end, he's going to make sure that he gets everybody a nod here on Tight End Day.
Wait, you're going to take a touchdown off the board for a tight end on National Tight End Day? I didn't think that was legal. Toss play. Montgomery wants to throw to the end zone. There's the touchdown for Sam Laporta. He got his National Tight End Day touchdown.
To Sam Laporta, the tight end, on what day is it, Grunt? National Tight Ends Day. Bah humbug.
I'm giving you tight ends the opportunity to get your celebration on National Tight Ends Day, but this is going to be National Khalif Raymond Day.
And of course, 2 tight ends on National Tight End Day.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about things?
So they beat it in the ground. Tell us about it.
Well,
So
the
was the last Sunday in October? Is it?
Well, no, the logical question, of course, is who created National Tight End Game? And it turns out it happened. The Lions helped create it. In 2018, they lost 30-27 to the 49ers. And
Wait,
Garrett Selleck, former Spartan, caught a pass for a touchdown pass, a tight end for the 49ers that day, as did George Kittle. And so they were joking around with Garoppolo. The quarterback came over and he goes, "What's this? National Tight End Day?" And sure enough, the NFL made it. But
Wait,
listen,
6 years ago? It's only 6 years old?
most of them are that. Yeah. Well, how about
Stupid.
National Hair Day was started by New Me Hair Products in 17. So I looked it up. I go, there are at least
did.
50 or 60 national days in October, including National Produce Misting Day, Taco Day, which is on the first Tuesday. You've got Walk to School Day. You've got Custodial Worker Recognition Day.
I hate the holidays.
One of my favorite, though, is Fried Scallops Day. Oh, on October 2nd.
What is the point of all this
It's
bullshit?
ridiculous. You got cinnamon
Awareness.
Bun Day.
Well, does the NFL have a bunch of other crappy days
don't
like
know.
that?
I don't know, but this is. I think we should.
How come
make
tight
this.
ends only get one day?
This is on National Drew Lane Podcast Day.
Yeah,
And
once
that
again,
was- that
Drew
was-
is not here today because Drew is actually down at the Lions game with the triple threat trio.
Yeah, on National Tight
On
End Day.
National who?
And last week we
Sounds
had
odd.
National Chocolate Covered Pretzel Day. So it's all bullshit. but
sounds delicious.
It was fun. It was fun.
This game was just incredible, though, and some of the stats that have popped out as we've gone over a few of them. But the return yardage, there was the 3 possession drive where they had 8 plays, 107 yards, and 3 touchdowns back to back. I mean, it was just a straight up ass kicking.
They lead 35-14 at the half, having been outgained 285 to 133. It just goes to show the old turnovers can really hurt you, and that's what happened to them today.
This is the 4th straight game over 30 points. First time since 1971. For
This just doesn't, in a way, it just doesn't feel real that this team is this good. And it
feels so good, though.
They've been good for a long time now, ever since that bad start that Campbell had. They threw it up there at one point. His record after that terrible start, it's second only to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like real life. It really doesn't.
It's great. It's a good feeling, one that we haven't had. We might as well embrace it.
They go. They're 6-1. They were 12-5 last year. 13-3. They are on an incredible roll. I think they're 25-7 now in their last 32 games. Is really 2 seasons. So you're talking about better than 12 wins a season. It has been remarkable. And the special teams today, 11 for 11. Our rookie kicker, kicked the 51-yarder after winning the game last week, or winning was it when he kicked the 44-yarder to win? I can't remember when that was.
I don't know. They showed that highlight though of his USFL record-breaking kick.
Right.
And I honestly thought it was like pregame warm-up because there's no highlight. There's no one in the stands. And Brandon, you said that was actually the championship game of the USFL. Like,
Championship
what?
game and no one's
one.
ever. It was crickets.
No one in that end zone.
Is that still
That fucking highlight, though.
is that still a league?
Yeah, they merged with the XFL.
They merged, right? Okay.
They did it without Jamo, who will miss another game for.
Yeah.
It never was revealed what his drug issue
Do you think
was.
it's odd that they haven't come out and said what it is? I like Jamo's statement though. It looked like he wrote it himself. Did you see his statement?
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was absolutely not written by him.
Of course not.
Very
no player's ever written his own
serious
statement.
about what I take and put in my body and blah blah blah. And it's an accident, but he didn't say what it was because so many times you see that happen, and it's a case where somebody takes cold medication, not realizing some active ingredient.
But the fact that he right away said, I'm going to take my lumps, I take responsibility. He didn't try to feud it. Or
It's the standard, I have no idea what it was, but it showed up in my body, so it must have been in something, so I'll take responsibility, but I have no idea.
It's only 2 games, too.
Yeah.
So it can't be.
But
and all the Viking fans were complaining about how we cheated.
Is it Jamo?
Right.
Which just makes me laugh. And then, of course,
on one pass for -4 yards.
And then on Thursday, the Vikings really got screwed against the Rams. Not that they were going to.
That was really. Now,
you don't know they were going to win the game if they got that. I was kind of naturally wanted the Vikings to lose because it helps the Lions. But it's one of those things, too, where it's like, I want this game to keep going. This is just a good game. I want it to keep going.
It's the absurdity of it. Although
for those that didn't see it, it was a blatant face mask.
Face mask.
Every official
in
missed
the
it.
end zone where quarterback's name Darnell.
Sam Darnold.
Darnold. So Darnold, he and the defender, a guy named Young, Byron Young, they're all alone. There's nobody else around, but the referee was behind and couldn't see the hand on the face mask. And I guess the other referees were blocked. And there's 7 refs and 22 players. But the point is, they're looking at it upstairs in the booth.
Yes,
they're looking at it in New York. It could have been overturned in a second, but you can't bitch or you can't call or what's the word? Ask for a review.
Why?
Why? I don't know.
Because then you could probably do it on any and every play.
But you get so many calls. You can in the NBA and the WNBA. In fact,
but look, the college football, every play is reviewed, right? So if there's an issue, and they just pause it and then they
common
look
sense.
At it. Yeah,
and they have sped it up a little bit. It used to take 10 minutes to determine if a guy, was a catch or not a catch. Now they just do it kind of an instant review. Hey, we're in the booth. We got 4 replays. It's obvious this is what's happening. Why make some ref with the sun blocking, or giving him shadows or whatever, to have to look at a tiny little monitor in the 50-yard line when up in the booth they can see what the hell it is. Now, so the irony is that, by the way, to his credit, Kevin O'Connell, but still they would have had to go 80 yards or 80 yards, in a minute and 30, but it could be done. And so it was taken away from them. But Kevin O'Connell, the Viking coach, said we're not going to bitch about it and kind of fall back on that as an excuse because we needed to play better overall. But you can challenge in pro basketball. And the same week, this is the same week that Cheryl Reeve, who was the coach, of course you're familiar with this, of the Minnesota Lynx. If we follow game by game all year long.
Okay.
But in
right.
the final, in the 7th game of the WNBA Finals, her player was called for a foul with a 2-point lead, and they reviewed it, and you could have gone either way, but they called it a foul, and she said that that play decided the game and that the championship was stolen from them. But the point I'm making is
this is a thing that happened?
Yes.
I had no idea that he did. You guys know?
Yes. No. Brianna Stewart was called for a foul. Or no, it's on Brianna Stewart. I don't know, but the point.
You're a huge Liberty fan. What are you talking about?
And the NBA does it also. So it's ridiculous that the reason we created the replay rule was so that you would get the right call, and to blatantly have the wrong call that everybody in America sees. Not that everybody watches the WNBA, but they do watch football, and a Thursday night game, no less. That is the only game of the night. It makes the league look terrible.
Yeah. It's pretty silly. I don't know what else to say about this Lions game. It was just a straight up ass kicking.
It wasn't ass kicking.
I'm trying to find something to bitch about.
No, they're a choo-choo train right now, and they keep rolling along. They have the best running back duo. It's so fun to watch the running back duo because they get off to such a hot start. And I'll give you a bloop.
Say locomotive. Choo-choo sounds too cute.
This is the first 6-1 team for the Lions since when?
6-1. I'm gonna guess 1971 because everything seems to be
94
since 1971.
You got to guess, Eli. Well, you're wrong too.
57.
Sorry. It's actually 1956.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So this is a special team, and I really love that Dan Campbell, Mike Ditka comparison. People always love that because they wore the same jersey. They were both tight ends. Their first year they did this. The first year they did that. The second year they did this.
So, yeah, they're really connected.
This year is the year that Ditka won the Super Bowl, so it looks like we're going to have a connection there. I'm telling you, if this guy wins the Super Bowl, he's going to be a legendary hero forever. This town is so desperate for football that they will build a statue of him faster than RoboCop.
I feel like this town will just explode if they win the Super Bowl. I don't know what we'll do.
Explode.
It'll have the biggest parade ever.
It will explode, and then if they start 0-2 next year, everybody will be up in arms.
Right?
Up in arms saying, what's wrong with this team? Fire everybody.
Well, they got two tough games coming up, Packers and the Texans. Can you imagine if they lose? I can't see them losing those two games.
The Packers are. Let's see if the Packers are holding on. I believe they held on.
They did. They won 30-27 over the Jags, but it came down to the final moment. So they've gone to 6-2 now. This NFC North is ridiculous.
Jordan Love, who hurt his was it his ankle or no MCL in Brazil? I think for the opener in Brazil, missed a couple of weeks, came back, started the last 5, but got hurt again today. Malik Walker, I believe, is the backup. Came in, so
Willis?
Willis from Liberty. Yeah,
the Packers are on the. But check this out, the Browns have just beaten the Baltimore Ravens with the.
How good was Watson today?
Watson
good.
Watson is still crying because we were talking about this doing the show last week when he had gotten hurt in tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
And when they took him off the field on the cart, the fans in Cleveland booed him, which made his teammates up in arms about that. It was a bad look, but how can you blame them? Here you have a team that made what I think is the worst trade in sports history. They give up 3 first-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, and a third-round pick for this quarterback, who they then gave $230 million to, who has been a complete and total bust. He's never going to play there again. Everybody's up in arms because of he's had more sexual assault charges than he has games played, 27-19. It's cost him $26 million per victory for his 9 wins in 2 years. He's done. And Jameis Winston comes in today.
Yeah.
And leads them to victory.
Did you see a stat?
There's 3 seconds to go.
Did you see a stat line, by the way, for Jameis?
No.
What was it?
He was ridiculous today. 27-41, 334, and 3 touchdowns.
Look at that
picks.
dude.
Any interceptions?
No interceptions.
Whoa. And here he is making a fraction of what Deshaun Watson makes. And I heard that he gave a fiery speech, Jameis Winston, which he's known for, giving those goofball speeches. He gave a big goofball speech before the game. And look, they go out and they win a game without Deshaun Watson. They're never going to want him back. No. They're going to look to any way to void this contract. But because he got injured, is that contract ever going to be able to be voided?
No, it's guaranteed. They owe him $46 million for the 2 more years after this one. They're still paying him $46 million this year. If they cut him, which they should do, whatever the dead cap is $119 million. Next year it'll be $87 million, the largest dead cap hit in NFL history, all because they had to have this guy with, at the time, only 22 sexual assault allegations against him.
What was the trading on? What did they get? You said 3 first-rounders?
Houston gave them Watson and a 6th-round pick for their Cleveland's next 3 number ones, 22, 3, and 4, plus a 3rd and 2 4th-round picks over those 3 years.
The only one that might be worse is Bryce Young.
I think the Bryce Young trade might end up being worse.
No, they only traded a number 1 for a number 1.
No, they didn't.
Well, they did give it a little more than that.
They gave up 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and DJ Moore. And one of those first-round picks was the one that the Bears used to get Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams.
Been really good.
What about Herschel Walker?
Yeah, people always point to the Herschel one, too. There was a lot of trades, but I don't know.
15 players for 1.
And that really set up Dallas for their big run.
Right, because I think they were 1-15 before they did that.
I think you're right though. Deshaun, that trade is worse than those 2 simply because of the legal issues.
And not just that, but how the franchise and the league, the fans in the league responded to it. Really, we have to have this guy, and the Haslams are the owners. So check this out.
Yeah.
They filed a lawsuit this week against the Modell law because they want to leave. They want to leave on their lease in Cleveland, and the city is suing them to stay, and they want to build a stadium 15 miles south.
Really?
Yeah. And so they filed a lawsuit in federal court asking for clarification of this Modell law that says, because remember, Modell
moved him to Baltimore.
and became the Ravens.
Well, the other thing with that trade, too, and that contract, that really set off the other quarterback contracts after then. In 2022, like looking at the list, that was really the first one, 230 for 230 guaranteed.
I think, well, they've all been going up. I don't think that one didn't necessarily, maybe for guaranteed money.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it kind of set the new bar. That was the beginning of it. Other contracts were big, but there was something different about that one.
Crazy.
How much is he going to pay me?
So off to Green Bay. I don't think there's anything stopping this Lions team, man. When you look at the games they have coming up.
They've also been playing really well on the road, so that's why I'm looking forward to this Green Bay game because, in years past, you don't play so well at Lambeau, but it's earlier in the year, it's not going to be as cold, and they've been just a freight train, a choo-choo train on the road so far. They did it in Dallas, and they did it in Minnesota.
When Hutchinson got hurt, we were here doing the show right after the Dallas game.
Did you see him at Ford Field today?
Yeah, apparently he had his leg up.
They showed him,
But the reaction after the game that we didn't get that heavily into, it was a lot of people saying, including the ticket, that's it. They can't win the Super Bowl now because he's the best player on their team.
There was no guarantee that they were going to win the Super Bowl with him anyways. Well, that's silly to say.
Right. It's an exaggeration, which is what sports talk is.
Well, to that, I'll ask you, when is the trade deadline again?
After next week?
After the middle of the season, so it's 8th or 9th week coming up.
Yeah, we'll see what they want to do. Maybe they just feel they have enough depth to keep going. I mean, they look pretty good today.
They added that guy, Isaiah Thomas, who, fun fact today, they wore their, which is kind of weird that athletes are wearing Halloween costumes as they're going to the game. Isaiah Thomas was wearing an Isaiah Thomas jersey. That was his Halloween costume.
Number 11.
A number 11 Pistons jersey.
That was an easy one.
But they picked him up, and he had a fumble recovery today. He got some time, so maybe there is enough depth there. The back part of the defense is plenty deep.
Yeah, with Branch and Joseph.
And Kirby had another pick today. Was that 5 already on the year?
5,
Yeah.
5 interceptions.
Oh, and he just cut on that. But he was 20 yards away from that guy when that pass was.
Yeah, he read it from the start.
But early in the game, when Mason Rudolph scrambled for their first touchdown to make it 7-7, Kirby had left his receiver uncovered in the back of the end zone, which enabled Mason Rudolph to make. He gets chewed out in the sidelines. And then after the great interception later, they show a shot in the sidelines, and Aaron Glenn is still talking to him, and Kirby's kind of, looking embarrassed with his, thinking, boy, you just
can't fucking win.
No.
So before we talk about Michigan State, Mark, I want to ask you a personal question. I'm watching the game last, and I'm seeing.
Yeah, I gave up 12.5. What?
I'm picturing myself going to school there, sitting in the stands.
Sure.
And you got all these sections of students, and you got boys, students, waving the yellow pom poms.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how effeminate. Would you have waved a yellow pom pom in the stands if they gave it to you when you were a student there? I would not have waved the yellow pom pom.
Maybe a towel.
I
don't really. I don't know. I'm thinking. I don't think I've ever waved any pom pom. But then again, there's a little bit of group mentality there when you're in the student section. I would say.
I thought it was. I thought it was a bad look.
Didn't we just throw marshmallows back then? Wasn't that the big thing?
Well, we used to pass people up that they then made.
Which is stupid.
Yeah.
I always liked when we threw the football out on a field goal or an extra point when it would go over the net into the crowd. Yeah, and then everyone would just throw it out of the bowl. Why, I don't know.
Go blue.
I do remember. Anyway, Michigan looked off. Michigan started that game. I had thought, like many did, that State was looking better than Michigan. They have a better.
They were.
They were. The first quarter, Davis Warren looked like he was lost to the point of being frantic. Michigan gains 37 yards in his first 3 possessions.
Well, they had. That first quarter they ran 3 plays and had 1 yard, and they were getting trucked. Trucked on defense.
And to his credit, Jake Butt, their former tight end, who's doing a pretty good job on Big Ten Network doing color commentary.
By the way, go on Twitter and see how angry Spartan fans are that he was calling the game because he's such a Michigan homer.
He's biased. Yes.
He was so fair. He was praising Michigan State, praising them all game long.
Send all emails and tweets to Eli.
He was critical of Davis for not seeing an open Colston Loveland. He was critical for him.
You're in the cult, bro.
No, I thought. In fact, when what's his name, Tucker, their linebacker was kicked out of the game for targeting. But said, I can see why they did it, but that's really tough.
That was a weird call, yeah.
It was a weird call. So I thought Butt did a very nice job and went out of his way to be fair to the Spartans. So that's all bullshit. Yes, I haven't sent it to my Twitter account that I never look at.
An old buddy.
That game really, the Michigan State game came down to just a couple little things. One is that drive. The first drive the Spartans had where they jumped off sides and they're going to go for it on fourth down.
From the 2-yard line, fourth down, jump off sides, and then their great kicker, Jonathan Kim, is one of the best kickers in the game. Yeah. Phenomenal. Hit 6 out of 7 the week before with a 55-yarder. And somehow I was trying to. I never saw the ball. I was looking at the field goal. Usually it just took a wicked right-hand turn. Yeah, it was so far right.
They're kicking from the left hash, and it went directly across. They left points right there. The onside kick. I like the aggressiveness that Jonathan Smith did there, but you flip the field if you don't get it right. Yeah. So I just don't know if you needed to do that against the way you were dominating that game. But that was a huge thing, and of course the fumble before the end of the first half.
Childs fumbles, and then Michigan gets so
once again, that was the right, because I saw Smith getting criticism for that. I'm like, no, he ran the ball, and for those that don't know, the Michigan scored, missed an extra point. It was 7-6, and there's 20-ish seconds left, I think, in the half.
Yeah.
And, they did the right thing. They ran the ball first and picked up like 13 yards. So it was like, okay, well, now let's take a shot. The problem was Childs just got chased from behind and got strip sacked, and I was surprised that he was getting a lot of shit for being so aggressive in that position. I'm like, well, yeah, you should.
Right. And they were down 9. Michigan led 9-7 at the half, and they were getting outplayed the entire time.
Is it true Michigan has 0 penalties, 0 turnovers?
0 penalties. They only gained 265 yards the whole game. Their running game, which is the best part of their team, or their offensive, the thing that they rely on, awful. Yep. You had
Mullings,
Edwards,
13 carries, I think 18 yards.
The two of them together, their two running backs gained a total of 42 yards, an average of 2.1 yards a carry. And Orgy, the quarterback who came in, ran 6 times and had more yards, 20 more yards than their two running backs combined. So they didn't run the ball. Although Warren, as the game went on, you could see he started to get into it. He started to take command.
And that
he started to show some
flea flicker.
Campbell
that throw off that flea flicker might have been his best throw that I think he's ever had.
Right,
where he threw it right in that
beautiful
spot on the left side, but.
And you got to give credit to the offensive coordinator, Kirk Campbell. Let Warren get into the game, called some tricky plays. There was, and the Spartans. They also gave Michigan their first touchdown by not covering Loveland on that touchdown pass where he's on the left side.
Lost
and
coverage,
covers him, is all alone in the end zone. So Sparty's 4-4, but they host Indiana 8-0. And they play at Illinois. Then they end by hosting Purdue and Rutgers. They can beat those, so they should wind up with 6 wins.
That's good. That's good.
And make a bowl. Michigan.
Oh, that sounds backhanded.
Well,
that's good. That's good.
Michigan will be lucky to win 6, which they could.
If you talked to Spartan fans before the season, I think 6-6 would have been fine, right?
It absolutely would have been fine. And I don't think 5-7 for Michigan would have been fine. Now they're looking at maybe 6-6 because Michigan is not going to beat number 1 Oregon, who they host next week. Then they go to Indiana, which they're not going to beat Indiana, which is they'll probably move up from 13th this week. And they finish at Ohio State. But how... Did you watch any of the Ohio State game?
I did. God, I watched almost all of it.
They look terrible. They can't run the ball.
It's the same problem they've had the last 3 years under Ryan Day. For some reason, the interior of their lines are just soft.
Well, they pushed around. They lost. I guess there was an illness that went around for all their offensive linemen before the season.
They got mixed around too.
And then they lost. They lost they've also lost a couple, but the
team is still so loaded.
They averaged 2.1 yards a carry, just 64 yards on the game. Think of that. And Travion Henderson came back, didn't go pro. They got that Smith guy. they're in trouble, and they play at Penn State next week, and of course, everybody around here just roots for the Buckeyes to lose.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Fuck them.
Well, the Big Ten's really kind of fun because they've had so much expansion now. A lot of these teams don't play each other. And I think, what is it, Penn State, who beat Wisconsin, Indiana, who just rolled again, and Oregon can all go up undefeated throughout the year, and then they have to pick 2 to play in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Like that's a realistic possibility, which shows once again another unintended consequence, I guess, of the expansion for money. It's like, yeah, you might have a bunch of undefeated teams in your conference.
Well, Michigan still obviously needs a quarterback, and that conversation continues. And there was an article, of course, Bryce Underwood is the #1 recruit in the country.
Yes.
And he plays at Belleville. By the way, Belleville lost to the Howell Highlanders, who are ranked number 3.
Are you a big Howell fan or something?
I'm looking. It was in
money on it
in the KLAA championship game, and I'm thinking anybody here can tell me what the KLAA conference is. Will get a special prize.
Yeah, what would K be for?
Believe it,
Kensington
Lakes Activities Association.
There you go.
Very, very good.
I was going to say exactly that.
But anyway, an article in Sports Illustrated this week refers to a report from Rivals, which is a credible college football reporting service, that Michigan coach Sharon Moore has, quote, spearheaded a serious push for the 5-star Belleville quarterback Bryce Underwood, #1 prospect in the country for 2025.
Gonna work.
He's committed to Brian Kelly and LSU. You can't blame him. They've had Heisman Trophy winners down there in 2019 with Burrow, in 2023 just last year with Daniels. But now that you got Dave Portnoy offering to throw $3 million. And by the way, if Portnoy gets to pay for Bryce Underwood, then Brandon, he too is a he's a Wolverine general manager.
Yeah.
Because he made that call and he put up the money. So you can both talk to your fellow GM, Dave Portnoy. But so they're now.
Is that where you want to spend $3 million? Why not go get a established college quarterback who just get him to transfer, just tamper?
You could do that, but why not get a guy that can be there for 3 or 4 3 years?
Cheat all the way anyway. Well, yeah, but I mean, you're going to spend $3 million every year, right?
Well, yeah. Well, listen. The rate is going to go up and up. The only $3 million quarterbacks now are Arch Manning, who doesn't even start, and who's the other one? Is it Ewers? Is that the?
Well, Nico, and I cannot even going to try to pronounce his last name. The guy at Tennessee.
I don't.
It's an $8 million quarterback.
Yeah, over the 4 years. So apparently, Underwood has been, quote, receptive to Michigan's advances and is, quote, torn on what to do next. And you can't blame him for being conflicted because there's going to be a bidding war.
Yeah. Is that going to get up to $5-6 million?
Who knows? Who knows?
It very well could, Jim.
Or higher.
You know, when this whole thing started a couple of years ago and Blake Corum came back to Michigan when he could have gone pro, and it made perfect sense because he was going to get, I think, $600,000-700,000 to come back, and he would have no guarantees of any contract if he had gone pro. So for some guys, it pays to stick around, get better, and make the money for as long as this craziness lasts. But we'll see whether they can convince Bryce Underwood to switch teams. That would be very, very nice. Let's see here. Boise State, Ashton Genty, who was the Heisman Trophy favorite, candidate, #1. I don't know if he's still #1, but he kind of faded a little bit. He only gained 128 yards as Boise State beat UNLV. But Travis Hunter came back, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns for Colorado, plus 2 tackles and 4 deflections. So you got 2 non-quarterbacks as the leading Heisman candidates.
Eli, we got to go back to the Michigan State game because you have not given me your take on the fight.
Yeah, they had a brawl after the game.
That was
awesome.
A brawl. Oh, come on now. I looked at it many times. I looked at it many times.
The amount of people that tweeted classless on both sides.
It was
just cracking me up.
It was the last play of the game. Warren takes a knee, and Loveland clashes with the defensive. What was his name?
Was it Jones? I think.
Yeah, and they just pushed and shoved a little bit, and then everybody came out. And it was almost like a baseball fight where they all look at each other and hold each other back, and nobody. I thought it was nothing.
Loveland, Colson Loveland
started it.
He really pissed me.
How did he start it?
He headbutted him. But didn't he?
But he got hit. He got smacked, and then he just kind of got in his grill. Look, if you ask me, they're both at fault, right? I mean, they're both. There's enough finger pointing going around. But Loveland pissed people off because after the game, did you see his post-game interview?
No.
Where he said, little bro stay doing little bro things, which great command of the English language.
That?
Yeah. Little bro stay doing little bro things. So Michigan State is the little bro. They can do whatever they want. We knew it was going to get chippy. Everything within confines of the games, we do right. And then after they want to get busy, we'll get busy.
Jeez.
Oh, boy. Just remember, though.
Just remember, pride comes before the fall.
This is why college football is the best. I
think this rivalry needed that.
Silly. Yeah, every year they need some scrum, some fight.
Yeah.
Like the tunnel fight 2
For a
years
good
ago.
rivalry.
Or when they tried to decapitate Devin Bush for stomping on the logo.
Yes.
Nobody remembers
And
these
yet,
things.
when they all leave school,
Spartans will.
They all like each other. They all knew each other in high school, and they're all buddies later on. But
I know. But isn't it? I mean, it's fun. I think it's fun. I like rivalries. I like chippiness.
Last night was tough because we had the Michigan State game. That was compelling. I didn't think it was, and there wasn't a lot of interest in it compared to others.
Yeah.
At the same time, the World Series was on. The Dodgers go up 2-0. And I don't know, the Gibby, Freeman.
What do you mean you don't? Wait.
Seems a little.
What do you mean you don't know?
Oh, boy.
Seriously, what happened on Friday night in the World Series Game 1 was one of the greatest moments in baseball history.
What?
In history.
easily.
Are you kidding me? You're in extra innings. You're losing by 1 run to the New York Yankees in Game 1 of the World Series. The bases are juiced. The bases are loaded. There's 2 outs.
It's like a choo-choo train.
There's 2 outs, and then Freddie Freeman comes up and does this. Are you kidding me? And listen to the call, too.
Cortez delivers. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone!
That camera shake.
Gibby, meet Freddie. Game 1 of the World Series.
Come on, how cool is that call?
It was cool.
Give me meat, Fred.
It was cool. I'm going to tell you, the difference is that, first of all, Gibby hit it off the best closer in the game.
Great point. Yeah, this guy.
And he hit it
Torres,
off.
yeah, a guy who hasn't pitched in.
Nestor Cortez, who hadn't pitched in 37, although it was not a bad pitch. It was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball inside part of the plate, but he still hit it out.
Got around on that really
also,
fast.
Gibby could barely walk, and Freeman did leg out a triple earlier in the game.
Yeah, but he hurt his ankle like a week ago.
And Freeman's son was sick months ago.
That's true. He had to take some days off. I had to put him on my IR when I was managing my baseball team.
All I think of now with Freddie Freeman on Los Angeles, though, is remember how pissed he was because his agent didn't tell him about the matching offer the Braves where he.
He wanted to be a Brave for life.
Shouldn't he get that agent back because he fired him for that, and now he's. If they win this World Series, he's going to be the MVP because he jacked another one last night.
Yeah, and it looks like they're on their way. They're up 2-0 against the New York Yankees.
I want a public apology from Freddie Freeman to his agent and have him re-sign him.
They're hitting the balls hard. Even the minor guys are coming up big. And then you have Shohei Ohtani, who's the best player in baseball, and he goes to take a steal.
Yeah.
And oh boy, did it look bad.
A partial, I think it's a partial separation of the shoulder, but they say he's going to play. He's expected to play tomorrow night.
Yeah, he wants to play in Game 3 despite this injury. I was worried about it because it's his throwing arm, and he's supposed to get back to pitching next year, which I can't wait for. He's the greatest baseball player possibly ever.
Well, the other star with Aaron Judge for the Yankees has disappeared in the playoffs, and that's a much bigger story. He's 1 for 9 with 6 strikeouts in the World Series, 6 for 40 with 19 strikeouts in the postseason. And it's all being won by home runs. Last night, again, this is what we're talking about the Tigers. They've got to get some big bats. Last night, game 2, all homers. Edman, Hernandez a 2-run shot, and Freeman, all the runs for the Dodgers, and Soto a solo for the Yanks. Same thing at game 1. Same way Cleveland beat the Tigers in that division series.
After watching the Tigers not hit home runs and then watching these last 2 games of the World Series, it's like, oh, that's why these teams are really good.
Right.
They can actually jack these balls and get them over the wall instead of hitting the wall, which was the difference in the Tigers last game.
Yeah, we're lucky if we have a 20 home run hitter because Torkelson used to be a 30 home run hitter, but he just disappeared.
31, actually. So
wait, you really don't put the Freddie Freeman home run up there with Gibby?
I do.
That's incredible, Eli. That's such a fantastic home run.
It's game 1. It's a walk-off home run. There's obviously similarities.
It's a walk-off grand slam.
Yeah. Grand slam. But Gibby had one years before, too. Add that to it.
Yeah, the one with Detroit.
But but that was
down. They were losing.
Way different.
All I'm going to say is I guarantee you LA is on the phone right now. Well, maybe not right now, but in the next couple weeks, and they're going to call up Gibby and they're going to say, hey, we want to have you do a photo shoot with Freddie Freeman. And there's going to be a big Freddie Freeman, Kirk Gibson thing on Dodgers next year on TV. Watch it happen, baby. And Drew will know it before all of you guys because he's best friends with Gibby.
Gibby actually, somebody reached out to him, like a Dodgers website, to talk to him about it. And he's like, I didn't see much of the game because he, of course, is out doing outdoorsy stuff. He was at his farm just doing stuff. But he did say that he was in time to see that. And he's like, I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen. It just had that feeling to it, which is, I mean, that was just an incredible scene.
It was. And the only reason I'm a little, it's just that ESPN, for the 30 years after Gibby hit the homer, would show a piece of it, whether it's going around second with an arm, whether it's coming to home plate, whether it's time of the sorta. It was like every day, sometime at ESPN, that home run lives. So it was nice to see it come back. I'm happy for Gibby because it was a great moment, but he should have been a Tiger. And he left. They all left because of collusion. Remember Tom Monahan?
Yeah.
Let Gibby go. Why? Because he called him a disgrace to the organization because he had a scruffy beard. What a bunch of shit.
Yeah, who's he think he is, Steinbrenner?
Yeah. So you know how I'm bothered by the shoulder patch when the Tigers got Meyer and all that. Yankees got this stuff. So I'm looking at the Dodgers and they got this big G on there.
G?
I go, what is the G? What is the G? And there's a little, I can't read what this says underneath, so I look it up, of course. It's the name of the company that bought the team, Guggenheim Baseball Management, of which Magic Johnson is an owner. I said, he owns the Dodgers. He owns part of the Washington Commanders. I know he owns a WNBA team. He sold, the guy owns, in 1994, he bought a part of the Lakers for $10 million, 4.5%, sold it for $30 in 2010, although it'll be worth $265 today because of the explosion. Then he bought an MLS team in 2014, the Sparks in 2014, part of the Dodgers in 2012, and the Commanders. So he is the...
He's been a major success with his business.
He really has. Yeah. He really has.
Aside from all the sports teams.
Right. And though he doesn't own the Lakers anymore, the Bronny stuff, I think, has mercifully come to a close.
My favorite.
Oh, no.
My favorite tweet after the first game was, this is the first time in history a player who had 0 points and 0 rebounds is having a post-game interview.
Right.
It's true.
There was he did have the great preseason where he averaged 4.2 points on 29% shooting. Yeah. But it's just, it's just contrived. Let him go to the G League and earn it. But, J.J. Redick, the new coach, has played along, and he sat down. He admitted he sat down with Bron and Bronny and said, how do you guys want to do this? What's the best way? So
he said, LeBron, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? And so bring your son to work day is what it turned out into. And they got out there for 3 minutes together. Of course, Bronny missed both shots, including an open three, and had a layup swatted away. But, now he's going to go down to the G League, and he'll earn his keep. And LeBron, meanwhile, is amazing. Is he 41 now or 40? He had a triple-double last night against Sacramento with 34 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists.
Yeah.
Guy's amazing.
He'll be 40 in December.
The over-under on Bronny scoring for that first game was 0.5 points. So basically, is he going to get a point in that game?
Is he ever really going to earn his keep?
No.
Is he going to end up
I think
back?
he may, but he needs to be in the G League.
That half-point over-under bet was the most popular prop bet in any sport in the history of Caesars Sportsbook.
Was it for the Lakers opener?
Yes.
Wow. Did the
over-under of
Can you
0.5.
imagine when the wide open 3-pointer didn't go in?
Oh, I know.
And then he got a rebound and went to put it back, and then Rudy Gobert swatted it away. So that's how frustrating.
It gave it COVID.
That's how frustrating gambling can be. But in that first game, when the two of them came out together, it was so heartwarming when LeBron said afterwards, that moment, us being at the scorer's table together, checking in together, no matter how my memory may fade as I get older, I will never forget that moment.
LeBron James, you can have him.
They're also the first father-son duo in NBA history to be sued over a car crash. Did you see that? They're both being sued over a car crash in 2022. And my first thought was, wait, were they both driving? Why are both of them being sued? That makes no sense. Yeah, there's two plaintiffs. I guess they sued them because they created a car accident.
Bronny was giving Bron a hand job. That's why. He had to have something to do with it.
But everything about it, it's easy to get the $7.9 million contract for a number 55 draft pick, all guaranteed and all that stuff. But
no matter how much that's going to live on in LeBron's memory, this is just proof how much it's all about him. Like, how is that going to live on in NBA history as a joke?
Yeah. Right.
Like, for him to say, it's just nauseating. I hate him.
Well, I'm really mad at the.
Hate him. Always hated him.
I don't hate him. I admire him as an amazing player.
I'm mad that the Griffies were there to give it some kind of credence as if it's an actual thing.
Right.
But then again, maybe they just wanted to go to the game for
everything in sports has become a hype. You never let a moment pass where you can't, make blaring music and pyrotechnics and dancing girls and screaming PA announcers and exploding scoreboards and video displays.
Eli misses the days where none of that happened.
Back when they played inside an actual cage.
I like the organs.
Yeah, and they hit the bucket.
Those were crazy times.
An actual bucket.
I've covered the Pistons.
Basket.
Yeah,
I've covered the Pistons.
To get the ladder out and climb up there and get the ball out the way it's supposed to be done.
In the mid-'70s, that I started covering the Pistons, here's what the intros would go like. And now the Pistons starting lineup at center, Bob Lanier, number 16. Guard Eric Money, number 22. And that was it. Now it's dancing girls and noise and pyrotechnics and drum lines.
What do you want? That's what sports is. It's all entertainment. Look at all the Lions start today where they have the smoke billowing out and shooting out and running out, which you can see on Drew's Twitter. He was out there tweeting pictures.
And think of how much money all those leagues make now compared to then. I mean, it has to have something to do with it.
I was thinking when I called it "Bring Your Son to Work Day" for LeBron. I think when your kids are 14, it's bring your daughter to work day. So I was working at DFN at the time downtown. So I brought my 14-year-old daughter to work, and she hates sports because I love sports. She hates sports.
Right.
So I said I got to go over to Joe Louis Arena afterwards and interview some players for tomorrow's show. So we get there, and we're down the end of one of the hallways at Joe Louis Arena. Who's walking off the ice but Sergei Fedorov? And I say, hey, come on, I'm going to introduce you to Sergei Fedorov. And she goes, why would I want to meet him? And I said, you don't have to, but just go to school tomorrow and tell the other 14-year-old boys in your class that you had a chance to meet him and turned it down and see what they say.
Did she know who he is?
No.
Any wherewithal?
No.
That reminds me when Julie was pregnant, we had to go to, there's something we were going to at the Townsend, and we walk in, and the Heat were in town, and walking by us was Juwan Howard, Wade, and LeBron. And she paid no mind. Like, did not.
Even CD's 6'8"
three
guys.
giant big guys walking by you.
See, she didn't even look up to see. Right?
What else did they have in common?
Hung? I don't know.
It was the first thing you mentioned.
But I'm like, did you not realize who that is? And then I told her, she goes, I don't know who those people are. Like, LeBron James
was
was like,
at the time. She was only 4 years old at the time.
It's only 10 years ago.
Oh, you're talking about your wife.
I'm talking about my wife.
You're talking about Charlotte.
Yeah, Julie. No, Julie was pregnant at the time, but it was just like, I don't know who those are. And I'm like, I was not focused on what we were supposed to be doing at that time at all, because I was more incensed that this is one of the most famous people in the world just walked by you.
And
one of the most recognizable people, too.
Regular
LeBron.
people, unlike those who cover sports, are not used to seeing people who are like 6'8", 6'9", 7 feet tall. It's shocking. Once I was in...
She's just never been impressed with any fame or any kind of famous person. She's like, okay, whatever. It's just another person.
Well, speaking of hype, here's my last story about hype. Ohtani's 50th home run ball sold for a record-breaking $4.4 million on Tuesday night, shattering the previous record of $3 million for McGuire's 70th home run, which sold for $3 million. Ken Golden of the auction house said, "We received bids from around the world, a testament to the significance of this iconic collectible and Ohtani's impact on sports." So, they make 200,000 balls a year are used in Major League Baseball, and about 120 a game. You can buy an official Major League Baseball for $20 online, the official Major League Baseball. So some guy somewhere at some time hit one of these 200,000 all-routine balls with a stick, and now it's worth $4 million. People are fucking crazy.
You really know how to take the joy out of everything.
The illusion of importance.
Joy vampire.
Oh, it's a piece of memorabilia.
It's somebody with $4 million. He doesn't know what else to do with it. Well, should I buy another mansion on the water, or should I buy some artwork?
Whatever he wants to do with it.
Memorabilia.
My thinking is, if you're a Dodger fan, wouldn't you rather have the Freeman ball?
Yeah, I would think so.
Right? Although it's Ohtani, and that was...
I don't know.
But,
no, I'd rather have the
50-50
Ohtani
season,
one.
the first ever 50-50 season ball, though.
Yeah, but it's because it's Ohtani.
And it's worth more than the Freeman ball. The Freeman ball is not going to sell for $4.4 million.
No. But it's because it's Ohtani, and he's become a worldwide figure. The Dodgers have these two incredible Japanese players. The pitcher pitched last night.
No one pays any attention to Yamamoto, and they just are worried about Ohtani.
Yamamoto pitched great last night.
I know, but every story is about. Is Ohtani's shoulder okay? He is going to play, like Brandon said. He's going to play in Game 3, so everything's fine.
I think it's certain he's going to play, but he's hoping to play.
No, they said they already. Let me see if I can find it.
I think that they really need to
Very careful.
be very careful with him, because I just don't know if he's going to get hurt.
He's been cleared to play. His left shoulder's fine.
Cleared to play.
Yeah, he's playing tomorrow. Dave Roberts just said so.
Very careful.
So all that worrying for nothing, and meanwhile Yamamoto just throws a great game.
Okay, it's November in the holiday.
Anything else you want to ruin? You take joy out of Michigan's victory. I would take some joy out of Lions' victory.
There's no joy to take out of the Lions.
Oh, there it is.
Nice. The only problem was the second half was uninteresting. Usually I like to watch 60 minutes. There's only 30 minutes worth watching.
There we go.
How dare they blow out another team?
Special teams plays in the second half.
That's true. Yeah.
It's November. The holiday season and the end of the year are clearly in sight. And speaking of sight, how about your inability to see objects up close without those reading glasses? It's a condition called presbyopia. If so, Dr. Yallo can fix you up for life. The amazing solution to get those bifocal implants in a fast, painless experience means no more struggling to see your phone, no more reading glasses, along with high-def 20/20 or better far vision. If you have a Flex or Health Savings account that has to be used by the end of the year, make a down payment now, get 20% off, and then get your procedure anytime this year next. It starts with a free evaluation from Dr. Yaldo, Michigan's most experienced, honored, and most affordable eye surgeon. Sign up at thealdoweyecenter.com.
Get out of here.
We'll see you next week. They post Packers.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
When is that game?
It's 4:25 or 4:30.
Yeah, 4:25. And then the week
after that, you bring your sleeping bag, because it's another Sunday night game.
Maybe we can name that National Drew Lane Podcast Day.
Maybe you could sleep over Saturday night and Sunday night.
Yeah, spend the weekend here with Drew. All right, get out of here.